I fondly remember importing this copy of Sin and Punishment for the Nintendo 64. It was one of the very few Japanese titles I bought for my system, and such a cool looking box. Despite no English release, it did receive a lot of hype within the N64 scene. Import friendly due to its fully voiced English cutscenes.
Good morning, Saki.
And the gameplay being pretty easy to understand. I mean, you do just shoot stuff. After ordering one of these NTSC to PAL cartridge adapters, I could play the game on my PAL format console. A bit of a complicated process though. Firstly, you needed a PAL cartridge, preferably one without a battery save. Slot it into the back here, like so, just look at this monstrosity. Then we plugged it all into the console. Enter a specific password to bypass the tricky region lockouts, and sometimes it just wouldn't work at all. Oh. But when I did have it working and fumbled my way through a few Japanese option menus, I had an amazing gaming experience. A railgun shooter by legendary Japanese developer Treasure. The controls were a little strange at first, to say the least, but the graphics were amazing. Everything felt fast-paced and arcadey, and I loved the grungy anime style aesthetic. It was a great game for sure, but I didn't like it quite as much as that other vastly more popular N64 railgun shooter. But even so, it was an unforgettable evening blasting my way through this game in its entirety. What a great game in memory. Sin and Punishment sadly didn't sell too well, but it would become a cult classic. And it did find a brand new audience when it released on the Nintendo Wii Virtual Console in 2007. Supposedly there was a high demand for it to be released on the service, which perhaps prompted Treasure to release a follow-up. Sin and Punishment's star successor released in 2009 for the Nintendo Wii, and this time thankfully a worldwide release. I've been replaying it again on my trusty old launch model Wii console. Star Successor is a direct sequel to Sin and Punishment, with main character Issa being the son of the original game's protagonist. I did always find the plot of the original game a little difficult to follow, but I did at least find Star Successor a little more coherent. Well, most of the time.
No, we're traveling through a gap in space-time. Teleporting.
But that's okay, I'm not here for a compelling plot, I just want to blow stuff up and smack this guy in the face with a sword. Star Successor expands on the gameplay of the original and feels very reminiscent of Sega's Space Harrier, with the player able to move freely around the screen while following a preset path. Aiming is tied directly to your target reticle, you have an indefinite amount of bullets, so don't stop firing. A melee counter which can be used to reflect oncoming projectiles back towards the enemy. A rolling dodge that will shield you from most attacks, if timed correctly. And similar to Nintendo's Star Fox, a charge attack can be performed to deal massive damage, but it does require a short cooldown period. There are two playable characters with very slight gameplay differences between the two. Issa, for example, has a devastatingly powerful charge attack, while Kachi has a very useful lock-on ability. The main campaign will still play out the same regardless of whoever you choose, although first-time players may find it much easier as Kachi. Issa's style of play on the other hand is perfect for racking up those high scores. And yes, I must award bonus points to Kachi for having a better sense of fashion and a really cool hoverboard.
But you lose points for your lousy taste in women.
As to be expected of any Treasure game, this game is tough. You will die repeatedly. Yes, it can be frustrating, but oh so satisfying when you finally figure out that tricky boss pattern. And suddenly it doesn't feel quite as impossible anymore. Well, it almost does. That final boss in particular felt pretty grueling to beat. There are 3 different difficulty settings available: infinite continues, health pickups, a 2-player mode, and I always felt that the checkpoints were at least fairly placed. There isn't really that much in terms of unlockables, but I did have a lot of fun replaying the game just to improve my high scores.
Alright, you win.
What a shame that the Wii Online servers have been permanently shut down now. The game has 4 control methods, including a Wiimote Nunchuck, the Wii Zapper, the Wii Classic Controller, and yes, even GameCube controller support. Feels pretty good to play with a Wavebird. My own personal preference, however, has got to be the Wiimote and Nunchuck. The game feels practically designed for them. I would say the Wii Zapper is a very close second, and using it again did make me feel like I was back at the old arcade. Good times. In my opinion, Star Successor is an even better game than the first, and one of the best games available on the Wii. It is a little sad then that, much like its predecessor, it did underperform at release, and has since become a cult classic. I suppose it does at least follow Treasure's philosophy in game design, making their own weird little games that they enjoy, and not necessarily those that have commercial viability. It's a great game, and it still continues to make me wonder to this very day, why oh why can't Nintendo make a modern Star Fox game this good? Thanks for watching.